Hello and welcome back to another video. This is going to be the first of a three-part series all about the kitchen setup. And I'm going to do my best to include links to as many of the products in the description down below if you find them helpful and you're looking at purchasing them. Unfortunately, I have been denied for some of the US affiliate programs because I don't yet have 3,000 subscribers. So if you do find this video entertaining or informative or helpful in any way, please consider subscribing. In the meanwhile, let's get to it. In this first episode, we are going to discuss mainly the items in my blue bin, but I'm also going to include some camp essentials. And for reference, this white table is just here for demonstrative purposes, but I am considering about a camp table in the future. So keep an eye out for that. First up, we have these. These are two camp chairs. This just so happens to be the Roots brand, but they're sold under many different names. And I have two of them so that I always have one for myself, and if I meet somebody or somebody happens to be accompanying with me, then I have another for them. What I really like about these particular chairs is that there is a attached footrest, although it is removable, and they're exceptionally comfortable. I've actually had these for like 15 years, but I'll do my best to find a comparable version to this product. But yeah, camp chairs I think are an essential, whether that's just relaxing between runs, relaxing at the end of the day around the campfire, you name it, these are great. With that said, I am actually considering about getting some smaller chairs because one downside to these are their size. They're not exactly the smallest and they're certainly not the lightest. I happen to have one of those Helinox Chair Zeros for canoe camping, but they also make some slightly larger versions that I think would fit really well in a truck setup where space is certainly at a premium. So yeah, current and potential future. So next out of the truck, we have this. This is my water port weekender with the added nozzle holder here on the one side. While this is considered one of my shower items, I also use it for filling the kitchen sink at the end of the day, for doing my dishes, as well as rinsing off my dishes. Of course, I always use a biodegradable soap. And in the future, what I'm looking to do here is instead of keeping it and taking up valuable bed space, I'm going to actually have it mounted on the side of the truck, and that's going to be for use as a shower. And for that to happen, I'm actually going to end up purchasing another one of these handle holders for this side so that it actually will spray out in that direction. Granted, they are reversible, but I don't think storing it with the hose stretched out like this permanently is going to be the best for the longevity of the hose. So for now, we just have the one attachment, but in the future, we'll look to have two. So good for showers and good for dishes and everything really in between. So you could, I've used it to wash off the bike because I don't yet have a bike rack at this point. So I've been storing all the rental bikes from the rental bike series in the back of the truck. And so I like to give them a quick wash off so I'm not putting something super dirty. You can also use it for pets. So with the rooftop tent, where any dog might be sleeping in with you, you can spray off Fido and clear off any sort of mud or dirt or dust, whatever. They're good just for hands, before you eat. And what's nice about this is there's lots of different nozzle configurations. I'm going to do a full video on this though in the future for my shower setup, but for now, worth mentioning. So this is my main blue camping bin here, and I carry a variety of items, and we're just gonna go by them one by one. Pop this up here. So right off the bat, we have a sausage roaster. Now, I eat a veggie diet, so veggie dogs are notorious for crumbling and falling apart when you put them through a skewer. So I got this so that the veggie dogs will sit in here. I haven't yet used it because we had a fire ban for the majority of the summer, but I don't see any reason why this won't work out quite well. Very inexpensive, but a nice little campfire item. Similarly, off the bat, I keep a old sweatshirt. This one's a button up. It has some pit zips and it's insulated. So I find like if you're just getting towards the end of the day and you want something, you know, like a warm layer to throw on, this way you always have one with you. So I like to bring the insulating layer. This will also be featured in a future upcoming video. However, I'm gonna mention it now since it's in the blue bin. This is a Smittybilt shovel. And what's really nice about this product is it's multi-use. There we go. So the shovel can be used as both digging a privy as well as, you know, digging up, you know, holes if you're trying to bury a steak, or even digging yourself out if you get, say, caught in mud. It's kind of like a nice multi-use item. So whether it's self-rescue or around the camp, having this shovel, I think, is a great idea. But this you will see in a future video. Of course, I have a first aid kit. This is my full-size first aid kit, and it's certainly a work in progress, as most first aid kits are. I did make a previous video on like a day backpacking style first aid kit. I have not yet made a vehicle first aid kit. If that's something that you think would be of benefit going through the items like I did previously, then let me know, and I'd be happy to do that. Next up, to go with the shower, we have the Sea to Summit pack towel. This is a beach size, so it is very, very big. That is it here. This is the luxe version, so it is extra fluffy and extra nice. And I'm a big fan of this towel. I would be happy to use it at home, but it's definitely a luxury item, hence the name, the luxe, when you are out camping. So just having a really nice towel. Why I got this is quick drying. So this is a great product for that. Of course, we just have a package of paper towel. This is always handy. I just take standard kitchen items, so after you're done eating, you get clean hands. Propane cylinder. This is for my stove, which is here. This is the GSI Pinnacle Pro stove. I did do a feature of a first impressions, first field use. At the time, I had not yet purchased this optional carry bag. It's a very minimal investment and it works exceptionally well, and I highly recommend getting this bag. It allows for a place to store the cable. I saw one criticism on the MEC website, or the Mountain Equipment Co-op website, where they didn't have a spot and they ended up breaking theirs. This has the dedicated compartment here off to the side. So if you're gonna spend $250 Canadian, spend another $29.99 and get yourself the carry case. It's really nice, so it keeps it protected against all the other items in transport. Another shower related item, just some old flip-flops that I happen to have. So really nice to have. That way if you're showering and you want to try to, you know, clean your feet off, then this is the way to do that. Happen to have this. I've had this for a long time. This is a 500 milliliter purple Nalgene. I like it because it's not only durable, it has the narrower spout, but this is great for keeping wine. This will basically fill like 95% of a wine bottle. So if you're going camping, you want to enjoy a bottle of wine, but you're worried about it breaking, believe it or not, this is a full bottle of wine, and yet it's much more compact. There's no glass. It's resealable. So nice little Nalgene 500 mils there. Of course, here we just have a Ziploc bag with some toilet paper, and then I've taken some hand sanitizer and I stuck it right up the center of the roll. So if you're doing your business, then you have the ability to get sanitized hands afterwards. Here is a bag that I have repurposed from, I'm not quite sure I've had it for so long, with some different sort of size and lengths of cordage, and these, which I got off Amazon, and these are just metal stainless steel clothespins or clothes pegs or whatever you want to call them, so you can actually properly hang it instead of sort of folding it over and then the wet sides just, you know, continue to make them wet. Even if you're not washing them, you just want to air them out at the end of the day, you can do the same thing. So you can create a clothesline and air out your clothes. Happen to have a hatchet. I no longer use this for canoe camping, but I thought that this might be good for roadside recovery as well as processing firewood at camp. Yet another repurposed item. This is just a clear dry bag that I used to use from canoe camping. But in here I have a number of different items that I think might be of benefit. This is some Afterbite, so if you get the mosquito bite and the itch, you can throw that on afterwards. We have some Naturapel citronella-based bug spray. I find it to be exceptionally good for black flies and mosquitoes. Small little lantern. This one has some hooks, so with the rooftop tent I can hook it up, and I can has both a down light and a flood light, so it's good that way, as well as if you're just setting it on a picnic table, then it can light sort of that work surface area. So nice little light there. Again, this is an older model, but there are similar new ones, and I'll throw the links downstairs. This might possibly be my pride and joy. This is the Gerber Cedulo that is part of their custom program, and I happen to get my logo put on here. This is a neat program where you get to choose all the different colors of the hardwares and the blade, add custom logos on here. This is something that I realized I needed after I did a trip in the truck camping, because I needed to process both firewood as well as cut my veggies. And if you just keep this clean, this knife can absolutely do both. So big fan of that right there. I like multi-purpose items. Sunscreen, BU, I like a spray. This is SPF 30? Yeah, 30. It's a little expensive, but that's a great quality product. It's also available in a smaller size, so you can throw that right in a hip pack. So if you're biking in like Arizona or like a really big exposed area, these are some mechanics gloves, protecting your hands around camp. So at the end of the day, if you're gonna go make a campfire, this is a good way that you can, handle your tools safely and not worry so much about getting a splinter, just general utility. If you had to, you could use these as they're designed to for, maybe working on your vehicle. So a pair of general utility gloves are a good idea. I also keep a general pair of utility gloves for the winter. And last but not least, I just happen to have a Bic Mini. This was because I pulled it out of one of my other kits, but I'll probably end up investing in maybe a bit of a torch style, but some way to actually light your campfire. So, Bic Mini. Yet another canoe camping transplant. This is a Silky Gomboy 240 in the medium tooth. It is a folding pull saw. It just works on the pull. But why do I have this in here? In case you need to, cut down a tree if something fell in your path, or processing firewood. It's very small, very compact, very lightweight, and quite safe as well, because again, it's a pull saw. There's no push involved. So it's nice product. So next up is my kitchen bin contents here. So these are just some folding plates / bowls. They're by a company called Fozzles. I found these exceptionally difficult to find. This is the bowl. It comes in a 2-pack, a light and dark, kind of him and hers sort of thing. I like them because, as you can see from the scratch marks here, I can set this down on the tailgate, I can cut my veggies, and because of the actual shape of it, it kind of keeps everything together. So in absence of a proper cutting board, these work great. But I also do have like a dollar store cutting board at home that I'll probably end up throwing in here. Good pair of bowls, that way you can make like, chili on rice or salads or whatever you want. Or you can just have it like a plate, so if you're just serving up a burger. I like the versatility of these products. Nested together, we have the Sea to Summit Alpha series. So these are both 8-inch. I found them to be the most appropriate size for the GSI Pinnacle Pro stove. Starting here, so this is the Alpha 8-inch pan. Has like a nice little quick lock. It is a anti-slip coating. It's aluminum as well, so they're quite lightweight. I especially like them because they fold down and they nest together. So I can keep them all together in this bin. Next up here is the Sea to Summit Alpha Pot 3.7 liter. What's really neat about this is there is a built-in strainer. So whenever possible, it's great to reduce the number of things that you have with you. Also, it's worth noting, due to the shape of the latch mechanism, while the lid does fit, it doesn't really fit. So may or may not be necessarily a bad thing. I would have preferred a more secure connection. So I look to them in the future for updates. Inside here, I keep a number of items, and I'll go through them one by one. So we have a Sea to Summit folding spatula. This is one of the best little gadgets that I got this year. It has a nice low profile, so you can get underneath a pancake, but you can use it to sort of chop things, serve up things. It's great. But on serving things, there's this, which is again the Sea to Summit folding serving spoon. And what's neat about it is it has this silicone expansion. So if you have a soup, if you have something thick like a chili, this is going to expand and then be able to collapse and store, in a much smaller area. So really neat product. This is actually probably the most expensive tea towel I've ever bought. This is a Pack Towel Luxe in the face size. And the reason why I specifically bought this and why I paid so much money for it is I have, or was previously using like dollar store tea towels, but they just don't absorb and hold as much water, and then they take much longer to dry out. They don't dry as quickly. So knowing this microfiber will absorb, I think it's like 5 times its weight in water or something like that. And again, for camping purposes, it has this little sort of snap hang loop. So if you're setting up a clothesline to dry, then you can throw this right on there, and just in the wind and in the sunlight, it'll dry out. So I really like this this product here. I think it's expensive for what it is. I don't hide that fact, but I think it's going to be the best performing for this use. Can opener, classic Starfrit. Not much more to say there other than it doesn't have sharp ends. I keep Ziploc bags because you will inevitably cut fruits and veggies, and then you don't want it leaking juices in the fridge. So having something to put it in, just with a little newspaper elastic. Similarly, garbage bags elastic together. These are a couple of bottles that I love using this style. These are Nalgene HDPE, high density polyethylene, I think it is. This one is all vegetable oil for cooking, and this one is a biodegradable soap for afterwards. You can spend a lot of money on biodegradable soaps that are like specifically from camping brands, but if you just go to your general store, I use Method, and Method is a biodegradable product that's from like natural sources. So I just add some Method into one of these. This is 30 milliliters or 60. This is 60 milliliters in volume, and this is enough to last me, more than a week. And a scour pad, just your classic Scotch-Brite. This is the blue one, so it's not going to harm the non-stick coating on the inside of the pots. But yes, these camp stoves, they often get really hot and not the best in terms of like low temperature modulation. So the risk of burning things is reasonably high. So having something that's a scour pad. I also have this style in here as well. So together, this is a nice combination for being able to clean out your dishes. Coffee in a Koeghlins odor-proof container. So I always keep ground coffee with me because you never know when you're going to want it after a ride. But I recommend use of these odor-proof storage bags, because coffee has quite a strong scent signature. So to reduce animals coming to visit, I would recommend taking a look into this. This is one of my little favorite items. It's the small things that count, but this is a Sea to Summit spork and knife combo. I really like a spork because I just think it's so darn useful, and I especially love that it comes with this little carabiner to keep it all together. Also, don't do what I was about to do and keep them in your non-stick, so I keep them separate. This, I absolutely love. This is a Yeti 14-ounce Rambler, I think. It has a clear slide lock lid, so you can always keep an eye on exactly how much fluid you have left. But the slide lock keeps all the bugs from using your drink as a swimming pool. It's double-walled stainless steel, so it is able to have an insulating property to it. And this is one of the best little items that I have to go along with a good cup of coffee. So next up is the GSI Microlite 1000. This is the nice raw stainless steel. This is a 1 liter or 1,000 milliliter double wall vacuum insulated mug. I have the previous version that I have been using for years and years that was not double wall, and every time you put hot liquids in it to make coffee, it scorched your hands. Well, how do you make coffee with a wide mouth bottle? You do that with this product right here. This is the Generation 2 GSI H2 Joe. And I have been making backcountry coffee in this style for over a decade. I originally started with French presses. I've done infusions, but if you're looking to make a larger volume of coffee, so if you want to make a cup of coffee in the morning and then have plenty while you're maybe cruising to a new location, this is the best way to do it. And how it works is quite simple. You simply add your grounds into the actual top of the infuser. It threads on quarter turn onto the actual microlight, and then you pour your hot water in through the top and it permeates down in. Close it up. And I usually set mine on the side like this to sort of let everything infuse together, kind of like a French press. You may need to sort of crack it to release some of the built-up pressure, but then when it's time to serve, you just simply take it off. You remove this, shake the grounds into your garbage bag and give this a clean off, and now you have coffee. It's worth noting that while these holes are quite tiny, you should also still coarsely ground your coffee. I don't mind a little bit of sludge in my camping coffee, but if you're really sensitive to that, you can do a couple things. One, ground your coffee grounds coarser, or just let this sit for a little while and then just pour off the top, and then the heavier grounds will sort of sit in the bottom. So backcountry coffee, this is the way to go. This is kind of a little special one. This is what I stole from my canoeing and sometimes backpacking setup. This is a Snow Peak 300 milliliter titanium double wall mug. It is way too fancy to be in here, and it will eventually be replaced by something less fancy. This originally I purchased for dual purpose, for both drinking coffee as well as drinking some scotch. So this is again the Nalgene HDPE. This is a 120 milliliter version, 125. What's really nice about these again is they're basically indestructible. They're much stronger, and you can take 125 mils of scotch and put it, in something much more compact, like the wine that I showed you earlier. So I like this because you can fold the handles up and drink it just like you would a scotch glass, but this is a nice little way to go. What is this, you might be wondering? This is the Lockley Sewing Edition. So if you're into scotch, as I am trying to, this is a unpeated scotch, but it has lots of citrus and sort of summery hay-like qualities. Unfortunately, we are wrapping up from summer and we're going to transition into fall, so maybe I'll do like a little scotch special in the future, but yeah, this is what I'm using for now. And then last but not least, we have this product. The Amazon ad, I think, says Wakeman Summer on the side of it. This is a collapsible bowl or wash basin or whatever. I really like it because depending on your setup and how you want to do things, you can change the size of it. This is what I use as a wash bin, but I also, for transportation purposes, as you've seen, I can put all my items inside and sort of lift it out. So nice to have that little organizational structure while camping. So as we lose light here, that just about wraps up our tour of the kitchen items. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I sincerely appreciate it. And be sure to keep tuned in for episodes 2 and 3 of this series. Episode 2 going over our fridge freezer setup, and episode 3 discussing the electrics that are involved in making this a great long-term solution. So in the meanwhile, you take care and bye for now.